Guillermo Rigondeaux wins a split decision, majority decision. I forgot which one it was. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. And I'm going to do my post-fight review of Rigondeaux versus Solis fight on Showtime. It's on the Gary Russell Jr. King Tug card in the MBR. I'm going to watch the main event and the UFC main event. You can get the link for the ESPN Plus below using my link. And I'm not going to keep this video too long because I got to go watch all the rest of the fights and main events. Rigondeaux won. It was either a split decision or a majority decision. I thought that was a horrible scorecard. I don't see Solis winning. It looks like whatever judge that was maybe had something out on against Rigondeaux's style or didn't like Rigondeaux. I don't see how Solis won. Now let's break down the fight real quick. Round one was surprising. Rigondeaux, he came and he was getting out hustled and out volumed by Solis. Solis didn't come out scared, was letting his hands go through combination. And then it got to the point where Rigondeaux just had a high guard and he wasn't throwing anything. And I'm like, man, Rigondeaux, why is he letting this dude kind of bully him? And, you know, he was probably absorbing a lot of the shots, but I just felt coming down in weight, whereas you just fought at, you know, higher weights, 122 all the way at 130 with Lomachenko. He shouldn't be letting this rugged guy move him around. And I thought his legs looked a bit stiff, so it was really weird. And then towards the end of the round, he gets clipped with a shot, like a hook or something, and he kind of gets buckled and staggering back. So I'm like, man, this is not looking good, because Rigondeaux, for his last fight and his last two fights, he fought on another card. I was there. I remember Joey Spencer had that tough fight with that Aleem dude, and then Rigondeaux also had a fight on that card. I think it was Charlo Cota. You know, I remember I was in Vegas, I believe. But anyway, Rigondeaux was on that card, and he was fighting the Mexican fighter, Ceja or whatever. And he was like fighting fire with fire, toe to toe. And it looked like it was going to be a continuation of that. And I'm like, that's just weird, because that's not the Rigondeaux, the sweet scientist that I've grown to appreciate and follow his career. This is not really his game. So after the first round, you definitely had to give the first round to Solis, and it looked kind of shaky for Rigondeaux. Even after that, Solis was still game and still hungry, and I'm like, man, you know, Rigondeaux, he never looked like he did in round one for any other rounds, 2 through 12. But so round one was his worst round. I think Solis might be the guy who landed the most on him, because most people don't come in super aggressive and, you know, not respecting Rigondeaux's power and his reflexes and skill set. But as the fight wore on, you know, Solis had little small moments and was game, and the fight started to get zapped from Solis. About the halfway mark, Rigondeaux was just giving him so many different looks, very subtle things with his footwork. He was navigating, walking around the ring where he wanted, you know, sidestep, reverse in the direction, then reverse again. He always had escape routes. Rigondeaux's defense looked on point outside of the first round, and he just gave him too many looks. In the seventh round, Solis got clipped up, and it's funny, you guys can go to my tweets. I was tweeting all of this, and I was like, where's Rigondeaux's body work? He needs to keep the body work up and shoot the uppercut, because these are punches I know Rigondeaux has in his arsenal, and with his athleticism, speed, and timing and stuff, and power, this would be good. I tweeted that, and I kid you not, that was in between rounds. The very next round, Rigondeaux set up a knockdown from the uppercut. The uppercut popped his head up, and then he followed it with two left hands or something. And then all of a sudden, you see Solis, his legs buckle up and stiffen up, and he just stood up in the air, frozen. And then Rigondeaux senses, and like a shark in the water with blood, you know, he senses the blood and jumped on him. And the dude should have took a knee. Solis should have took a knee, but he was trying to be too brave, I guess you could say. So his legs are gone, and he's spilling back, and the ropes kept him up. So it should have been a knockdown. So you're gonna get a 10-8 round. And then he went down and then got back up, and Rigondeaux, he looked at that like prey, you know, and just continued to assault him. And dude Solis ended up taking a couple more vicious shots that were hurting him more. And then the referee kind of got, by the time this point, referee Benji Esteves or whatever got to Solis and administered the count. But it was looking ugly for Solis. He definitely inexperienced there, because the moment the ropes had to keep you up, it's a 10-8 round, because that's considered a knockdown. So you might as well just take the knee, or when you went down, stay down, take a long count, 7-8, maybe even 9, depending on how you feel. Clear your head instead of popping right back up with no legs, because his legs look pretty crummy right after that. So horrible, inexperienced, and tactical move by Solis. And then slowly but surely, the fight kept getting zapped away from him. He got hurt again by Rigondeaux in the 10th round. Beautiful maneuvers. Rigondeaux kind of spun off, had his back against the ropes, spun out, we seen Sean Porter, and this was impressive. Sean Porter did this to Errol Spence. Errol Spence had Sean Porter's back against the wall. Sean Porter found an escape route, spun out, and then forced and drove Errol Spence back. Rigondeaux did that same thing with Solis, and his back was against the rope. Matadored it, whoop, 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 sidestep out, and then he put Solis against the ropes, had his back against the ropes, and started clipping him up with shots. And it's like he was landing some surgical stuff. Listen, I'm gonna watch the main event, so I'll talk about more on live. Showtime got, I feel like their commentary crew is losing some of the bite. I've always respected and still do respect Showtime's commentary crew and consider them to be one of the best, but lately it's like they're doing kind of what HBO did. They're not appreciating boxing in all its splendor, and they're focusing on stupid stuff. And some of the commentary, like even Paulie Malignaggi, it's weird because Paulie Malignaggi, it's like certain fighters like Wilder, Tank, on the fight earlier with Jason Velez. I felt like I even tweeted, I'm like, man, I find myself disagreeing with Paulie a lot more, because I used to be like, man, Paulie, everything he's thinking, I'm thinking, it was spot on. But lately, some of the stuff he said about Wilder and Tank Davis, and then the fight with Jason Velez and that Arbolado dude, I'm just like, what? But to his credit, Paulie was giving Rigondeaux credit that it seemed like they switched. Paulie was saying some weird stuff during the Velez fight, but then he was giving Rigondeaux credit for his genius as a sweet science boxer. And then you hear Bernstein and Mauro Ronaldo and stuff, and they seem kind of like, just kind of hating, like, oh yeah, and they're focused on weird stuff like the crowd booing. Like, why even pay that any mind? Like, we know the crowd booing. If they're booing, people get drunk and belligerent. And the first fight was an all action fight, and the two dudes had it was a triple header. Two dudes had no defense, so not every fight's gonna be like that. And if Rigondeaux, that would be a bad look if all the rounds look like round one. He's 39 years old. He got to fight his fight, and that's boxing. And they're comparing it to the About earlier, talking and kind of channeling in the people booing. Who cares? I watched Ruslan Provodnikov. This is a true story. Go watch it. It was called the Home Depot Center, and Tim Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov, instant classic, great fight. And as soon as they had one round or a section of that fight where the action slowed down a little bit, and the people were so spoiled from Bradley doing cartwheels and getting hurt and fighting off the ropes and punches thrown, they started booing that fight. Bradley versus Provodnikov. Go rewatch it. So you can't be concerned with stuff like that. Rigondeaux is 39 years old. He's on the final chapter, most likely, of his career. Long amateur career, 2 gold medals, a loss to Lomachenko as a pro. He got to fight his fight. He can't have too many rounds like round one, especially against guys of this level, if he's trying to go on a unification run at age 39. So I thought Rigondeaux started pulling away, and that started looking like the Rigondeaux that I've always known. Earlier in the fight, first couple 3 rounds or whatever, it didn't look the same. I will say this, Rigondeaux, he looks to have, maybe going to 130 and going back down to 118. Maybe that's tapped his body a little bit. His reflexes looked a bit slower. His reflexes, his speed looked, just a hair slower. Still faster than average, but certain shots that he tried for, he missed. And I don't think that Solis was, moving so great or whatever. I think Rigondeaux's timing had, just needed to be tweaked, and it was a little bit off, because those are certain shots that I feel like when he was fighting Donaire and stuff, he wasn't missing. So another thing Rigondeaux should do at age 39 is, with PBC, get with Al Heyman and Ronnie Shields, stay active. He must stay active. you know. And I feel bad because Rigondeaux got ducked for so long by Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, and Quigg and stuff like that. And those were guys in his divisions or close to divisions he was in, and those made more sense than Lomachenko years down the line. So, you know, if he's going on a last title run, he got to be smart. It looks like he's slowed down a little bit. Father Time is undefeated, and you see a little bit of slippage, you know, in terms of just little simple stuff. If you watch Rigondeaux for a while, just some of the punches that I think he would have been more accurate with didn't get off. But I thought Rigondeaux started pulling through in the last. I don't see how Solis won on a scorecard and all that. He started getting pieced up. And this is the other thing. The last thing I'll say is Rigondeaux, people always boo and complain, and I'm bored, and Rigondeaux's like giving my kids NyQuil and say all these stupid similes and stuff, but they don't appreciate the sweet science and the mastery of his craft. The reason Rigondeaux fights start to look like this is because the people, listen to me carefully, they get shook, they get gun shy when they see and feel the power. See when he starts getting his timing down, they don't know where the punches are coming from. He's a southpaw, which gives a lot of people problems, and he's already knocked you down, he's already hurt you, stuff like that. They become apprehensive, they become gun shy. They're like, man, okay. It's like trying to hop a fence that's an electric fence, and you're like, you didn't know it was an electric fence. You touch it, zzz, you get shocked. So you try to, you know, put some gloves on and then touch the chain link fence and hop over that way. Zzz, you get shocked. So you're trying to go figure how you can go get your ball, which is on the other side of the fence, but your two attempts to get over, you're getting hurt. Your hands are getting charged, you're getting zapped, you're getting some wattage, you're getting some voltage, right? That's how Rigondeaux fighting him is. So these guys, they get in there and then they stop wanting to really exchange. Like Solis probably would have got knocked out if he fought 1 through 12 aggressive like he did in round 1, because that would create more and more opportunities for Rigondeaux to get his timing down, older or not. But the thing is, he became just hesitant. He was gun shy, and proof of this would be the final round. Before sending him out, his corner says, hey, Solis, you need a knockout to win. Come on, we got to win this round. And they put some emphasis on it. He lost round 12. Not only did he lose it, Rigondeaux was showing some fancy footwork and showboating and, like, you know, kind of tap dancing and moving around like fancy fleet feet. And Solis literally just watched him do all these histrionics and showboat and move around, and Rigondeaux was baiting him like, come on, like, what's up? And then putting his hands low and doing all this showboating, and Solis just stayed at a proximity away and never rushed Rigondeaux, wasn't punching. He just allowed him to do that. That's the sign of a gun-shy, mentally broken, shook person, because they know he's trying to lure you into something, and they don't know how to approach that electric fence. And that's what Rigondeaux is. So Rigondeaux, it wasn't his best performance, but definitely wasn't what some of the Showtime commentators were making it to be, like it was horrible. You know, I think Steve Farhood said Rigondeaux is only up by 1, and that it was at a point late in the fight where Rigondeaux had a 10-8 round, hurt Solis bad in round 10, and really had found his distance. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like people, it's like a secret society. A lot of people don't know how to judge Rigondeaux fights. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.